Kelly Valentine Hendry, casting director for Bridgerton, which just completely blew up over Christmas when it premiered. Did you expect that kind of reaction from viewers?
Honestly, we knew it was good, but we did not expect the kind of takeover of the entire world was talking about it. So we didn't expect it. You always, you hope you hope someone's gonna, you hope your mom's gonna watch the show. But then when everybody's moms watch the show, then you know that you've touched something. You've done something right.
So how did you come aboard Bridgerton?
I was invited to meet with Shondaland by Netflix UK, which was lovely. So I guess that's an interview or like an audition. And they sent me the scripts and I went to the bookstore, quickly had a look at the book, found the book in the romance section, which I'd never really been in before. And yeah, so I read the book. No, I didn't read the book. So I read the script, spoke to the team, and we talked about some ideas. And I have to say, it was such a lovely, respectful situation whereby they offered me to take on board the job as casting director very quickly, and we started straight away. So it was a really simple process, actually.
Well, the show is set in this alternate racially integrated history. So what was your reaction when you found out like this would employ inclusive casting, and what were the discussions like?
I don't think I had a reaction to it. It wasn't necessarily a straight out conversation about it. It was obvious from the start that that's what this show was about and what it was going to be. And I would like to think, like a lot of my fellow casting directors, we've been included for years. Other obstacles have made that maybe that hasn't come across, but when you're given something like this, that you genuinely can just do your job and put the best actors that happen also to be incredibly inclusive in front of everybody, then that's great when you're supported by an inclusive institution like Shondaland and Netflix. So there was no reaction to it. It was more like, excellent, let's do it.
It's like you can finally do this when it's like, I feel like in, even in like recent years, it hasn't always been that case, but it's been more of that. And Shondaland obviously has always, even with like Grey's Anatomy, like over a decade ago, has been casting like that. So, well, it's an ensemble show with like a sprawling cast. So what was the audition process like? Did you see a lot of actors? Did you get a lot of tapes?
It was do your thing, and brilliantly so first step, huge amounts of not open auditions, but we gave a lot of people a chance. So myself and my office just got dug in and we saw hundreds of people, hundreds and hundreds, and one by one we ticked off the roles. Like I said, here's the thing, we had to think about it as an ensemble as a whole from day one anyway. So we knew we had the Featheringtons, we knew we had the Bridgertons, and we knew how to create this world. So once we got going and we realized that, you know what, the Featheringtons are naturally becoming funny. I mean, they were written quite funny, but you didn't want to play on that. And then when you start seeing actresses like Bessie Carter or Nicola Coughlan, you start realizing that, hang on, it's more comedic-led actors who are amazing at drama. That's where we headed with the Featheringtons, and it came naturally. And the Bridgertons felt more like this kind of classically perfect family. They're all very funny too. So as the snowball of casting kept on going, it was quite an easy show to get your head into because Chris and Shondaland were very clear about what they wanted, but equally very open to left field suggestions. And that's what's so great about working with them. So it felt like a big, massive gap of opportunity, not just for the people that we're putting in front of the camera, but also for us as the casting department to have some fun, which we did. And I think you can see that on the screen, I hope.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, I assume that a lot of these actors read for multiple parts. So was there anyone in particular where you suggested read for a different role and was cast in that role?
You know, a lot of people read for the Duke, who ended up playing other parts. And also, I believe Phoebe read for Daphne, and then I think she read for another part. And of course, she was Daphne. But I mean, yeah, there was multiple auditions for multiple roles. But you can see from watching the show that you have a lot of characters that exist in the world that are all very similar. So you had to always make sure that you were shifting gears. So when you pass one person, you were shifting gear to the next role, to the next role, to the next role, but at the same time making sure that these people all fit in this reimagined Regency world. That you can't just cast and blast away anything. There's got to be some feeling of you've got to knit people together, and in a reimagined Regency, I suppose that's quite hard. But I think you just have to trust your judgment or your taste or the people that you're working with when we're narrowing it down, that we're all working on the same page, and I think we were. So it was genuinely a pleasure from start to finish.
Well, it's Simon and Daphne are the central couple of the first season. So how many people did you see for those roles?
Hundreds. I can't tell you. Maybe, do you know what? I would probably get, there's got to be a couple of hundred. We saw people from all around the world. We didn't necessarily, it's not that we couldn't hire SAG actors. It just didn't work out like that. We definitely saw people in America, saw people in Australia, we saw people all over the world. But to be honest, both of them did have to speak with an RP accent or a version of RP. So that does narrow it down slightly. So even in our reimagined world, we thought that it was probably best that people did sound the way that people expected. They might not look what people expect, but they needed to sound like that. We also, none of it could be like you didn't ever want to shine the light on a specific character. So even though like the Featheringtons, that Lady Featherington is technically, she's not a joke in the show, and Polly Walker plays it with such grace and delicacy in her dramatic acting and comedic ability, and you never want to, and you can't shine a light on it. And when you've got auditions for this type of thing and someone needs to make an impact, and their costume's going to be unbelievable, and that the set is going to be ridiculous, how do you put that, place that person who doesn't have to go for 1,000% to not chew the furniture or whatever we call it, like just exists. So yeah, we saw hundreds of people before we got it right. But I tell you something, when we did get it right, Shondaland and everybody picked up on it straight away. And there was a section where we offered straight from tape because, of course, everybody was in Los Angeles, including our director. And then we brought some people back for recalls. So there was a nice mixture of people in the room and people who just got it from tape.
Mm-hmm. Well, with Rege-Jean Page, did you have the feeling when you first saw him that like this guy is going to be huge, like the breakout star?
Yes, both of them, to be fair, as a chemistry, because we'd seen so many people for both roles. It was really we never went, that's the person for those roles, because Rege truthfully wasn't available until right at the end. He became a possibility right at the last minute. And when he read with her in LA, that's where they were, that was the first time Simon and Daphne came alive. And that was it. It was done. So all of those months leading up to it, we weren't quite sure about people. You couldn't quite put your finger on what it was, why you would just push the button on those people. And then those two did what you guys have seen on screen. And it's like, well, there you go. There is the Duke and Duchess. Our job is done, thank God, because it was quite late. It was quite close to filming. So.
Yeah, and he was on a previous Shondaland show that got canceled, so that's why he was available, right?
Yeah, and of course they'd worked with him before, and they were like, Reggie's become available. What do you think? Absolutely collective decision. Let's get this guy in quickly. Let's get Phoebe back. And then you had that chemical reaction that everyone loved.
And now everyone is heartbroken that he's not returning for season 2. But the show has been renewed for 2 more seasons. So are you returning for both?
That is, I don't know. Hopefully I'm invited to return. So I'm doing the second season just now, which is equally challenging. We have a lot of new people, a lot Oh dear, we've got a lot of new faces again. There is a lot of lords and judgy mamas and obnoxious suitors, and they're everywhere. Everywhere you look, they're there. So there's a lot to do. And they all have to have skills as well. There's a lot of dancing, a lot of horse riding, the occasional fencing. It's a lot.
Every actor is just updating the skills section on the resume now with fencing and horseback riding.
It's true. And what's happening to me at the moment, if we put out a breakdown for a show and everything's obviously got code names, it's interesting. Other shows people are doing auditions for, and I think that they're auditioning for Bridgerton because there's definitely a Bridgerton tone with how they're doing the audition, and we have to politely say it's not Bridgerton. It's all right. You have to tone that back.
Like, we're on to you. Sorry.
Yeah, well, everyone just assumes, so it's great.
Well, Kelly, it was great speaking with you. Excited for season 2. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you back here in a little bit.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.